And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
High Noon Saloon is a Western game from Slugfest Games. Now, Slugfest Games is a company that believes in theme. One of their most popular games, Red Dragon Inn, is a bunch of adventurers sitting around in the tavern after the run is over. They have a kung fighting game and things like that. And so this one is about a bunch of people who go into a saloon, and now instead of talking about their adventure, they're shooting it out. It's your typical fight in a Western bar. Why are people fighting? Well, just like the movies, there's really no good reason. And even if there is a good reason for two people to be fighting, why does everyone else start getting involved? Again, for no good reason. We just do. And so this has a lot of the stuff that you would expect in a game like that. Does that make it good? Let's see. High Noon Saloon takes place in this, well, saloon here. It's kind of a small board. I mean, I guess it's so it could fit in a box. I wouldn't have minded if it was just a little bit bigger, but not a big deal. Each player is going to have a character sheet here, and on this character sheet they're going to put a picture of their character if they want a boring game. But if they want a more interesting game, they'll turn that card over, and each character has a special ability. I'm not completely convinced the special abilities are balanced completely, but they're pretty good. And then you'll put a heart here to show how much grit you want. You can start with 20 grit, which is what I highly recommend, because 30 grit is probably too long of a game. And this is your life points in essence, and as you take hits, you're going to lose grit. You also, here shows you your fist. However, that fist can be replaced as time goes by with other weapons, like maybe the Bowie knife, or perhaps I can give myself a ranged weapon like this Peacemaker here. I can also put a weapon in the holster as long as there's a holster symbol on it. This Peacemaker shows a holster, which is fine. I could put that in the holster, but I can't put a repeating rifle in my holster. Although I could put this 6-shooter in my holster. Now, whenever I put a gun in, and you're going to put a couple guns in at the beginning of the game if you want to, or like a weapon like the Bowie knife, you'll turn over the top card of the load thing, and that shows how many bullets are in that gun. So I turn over 3 bullets for my Peacemaker, so I put a bullet there to show that it has 3 bullets in, and then my 6-shooter happens to have 4 bullets, and so I would put 4 bullets in that one. And this can go from being fully loaded to having 1 measly bullet in it, and that's how players will go. Now, on a player's turn, the very first thing they can do is they will have a handful of cards, 7 cards, from a deck, and they can discard all their up to as many cards as they want and redraw back up to 7. They then can switch around the weapons that they have if they like. Then they're also allowed to move here on the board. Now, you can see that there's some people here on the board. There's 2 movement phases. During the first movement phase, you are allowed to jump, which basically means you can move to this area here called no cover. Now, you're not normally going to typically want to jump to no cover, but if you do jump off the balcony to no cover, you will get +2 to your attack. If you notice, each of these spots here has a certain amount of area for people to move to and into, and some of them have more spots than others, like that no cover area, and some of them have some natural bonuses, like this one here has +1 defense because you're hiding behind the table. If you move during this phase, then at the end of this phase, you're not going to be able to move to any white spot. You can only move to one of the orange spots that's on the board. Otherwise, you will move after your turn. You can then make an attack on someone else. If you are adjacent to somebody, and let's focus on here, see these arrows here? This spot here, no cover, has arrows pointing to these spaces here, which means you can attack them with a melee attack. You cannot attack the balcony with a melee attack. It has to be a spot where there's arrows. There's arrows going in both directions here, so these can both attack each other. So while this no cover spot is not a great spot to be in, it also lets you attack quite a few other places. Now, when you attack, you can simply make an attack with one of your weapons. If you have no weapon, you can use your fist. Each weapon like this, you'll notice that this gun here at the bottom has a fist value of 2, so that can also be used as a melee attack of 2, or you can shoot. When you shoot, you have to decide how much ammunition you're going to use. Here you can use 1 bullet for 3 damage. Although down here, you can see the 6-shooter, I can use 1 bullet to do 1 damage to 1 player, 2 bullets to do 2 damage to a player, or 2 bullets to do 1 damage to 2 different targets. That's up to me. If I'm out of ammunition, I can't use those. Now after I decide my attack, I'm allowed to play enhancement cards on that attack. So, like for example, this can only be used on a melee attack. I can say it's a forceful, fierce, mighty attack. As long as they're all different words, I can do that. And now my melee attack has +5 to it. I'll make it strong too. And I'm taking you all out. I can hit 2 targets or add 2 damage to the attack. My opponent then can play as many defense cards as he wants to, again, against the proper type. So he could play this here, now you done made me mad, which lets him have 2 defense and lets him have a counterattack, or that the best you got. I could not play this I'll live but you might not, because that's a defense against a ranged attack. Just like if I was making a ranged attack, I would have to play these ranged cards. This one requires more bullets, and these add more damage. And there are weapons sometimes that can be used only, like for example, this chair can only be used 1 time. It's a 5, but it can only be used 1 time attack. You can use the buoy to make a ranged attack, but it's less. You can use this bottle of bourbon as an attack, or at the end of your turn, drink it to regain some grit. But you'll be making attacks. So you take all the attack, you subtract all the defense, and that's how much damage they take. Now, if you look at the board, you'll see some spots provide natural cover. However, if you're in the same spot as the person you're attacking, for example, behind the piano counts as 2, but if I'm in the same spot as you and I'm attacking you, you don't get that 2 bonus cover. And other spots here, like this one here, in the back room gives you 3 defense, but when you attack, it's -2 because you can't see what you're doing. A couple spots also have special abilities. I already mentioned jumping off the balcony. If you're the only person behind the bar at the end of your turn, you can heal 2 damage. And if you're the only person behind the piano at the end of your turn, you can take 2 bullets. There are a lot of other cards that are involved with the game. We have a heap of bullets, and different cards like this, which will allow you to refill your guns. There are special cards where you can call somebody out, or I got the drop on you. And there's all sorts of cool different guns that you can have that have different effects. The double barrel shotgun, and so on and so forth. Now, you can also play this game in teams. You can have 2-on-2 or 2-on-2-on-2. And when you play in teams, there are team cards involved that you can play, that where you can help each other out. You only have 1 grit total. One person, each person has their own card, but one person is going to put their grit on 30, and they're going to get a +10 token that they can turn in at any time to regain 10 points. So you effectively have 40 grit. And when either one of you takes a hit, it goes against your grit. And this is a very different feel to the game, because one of you can hold up and cover, and the other can go out and get all shot to pieces, and your team is going to lose. So, and you can throw weapons to each other, and you can talk to each other and give a card to one another, and then of course the last team remains standing as the winner. In the normal game, the last cowboy remaining standing is the winner. High Noon Saloon is essentially a take-that-player elimination, where you're playing cards on other players and trying to get rid of them. And these games are a dime a dozen. There's lots of them out there. Is this one any different? Well, if it is different, it's different in its theme. That's what I said at the beginning of the game. And not everyone that I've played this with has enjoyed it, but I just get a kick out of it. I don't know what it is. I love the fact that you jump off the balcony. I just get into it when we play it. And, oh, I'm shooting at you and this, and you're playing cards. Now, it really is best with teams. Really, the team aspect is the best way to play the game, because then you're working together and there's kind of more of a focal point. And the more players, the merrier, because the bar is a lot more crowded and there's a lot more things going on. Some weapons are obviously better than other weapons, but who cares? If someone gets one of those, take him out, and there's just this neat sense of, oh, you thought that hurt, oh, you just winged me, and people start infecting cowboy accents. Now, I sometimes get down on games for this, where I say the game expects us to provide the humor, but I think the humor comes from the game itself. My only complaint really is that the board is too small. I think it could be a little bit bigger. Other than that, it works. Everyone loves Bang, and Bang does have the aspect where you don't know who's who. Here you're just trying to kill. This feels like a faster version of Bang. And I like games like that. Yeah, there's player elimination, but you're going to be out for what, 5-10 minutes? Don't play epic games of this. Play short games. Get in, get out, and have fun. It's not a game I'd want to play all the time, but it certainly isn't one I would turn down because I enjoy the Western theme. I don't think it's in enough games, and this one's silly enough, and you're throwing Bowie knives and hitting someone with a chair. Okay. I don't know. I'm a sucker for this. Maybe this is one of my guilty pleasure type games, but I did enjoy it. High Noon Saloon.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.